Welcome back, everyone. My name is Ember, and today we are continuing our One Piece journey with Volume 50. We are 50 volumes in to One Piece. That's kind of insane. This is officially the... Well, no, because I read Naruto. So, this is the... And also, well, actually... See, now I'm thinking, at first I thought this was the longest series that I've read so far, but I've read all of Naruto, and I'm mostly caught up on Pokemon Adventures, so far this is the third longest that I've stuck with a manga. So, we'll get there eventually. See, now I'm thinking, now I'm gonna look at the rest of my shelf, like, what else have I read a shit ton of? But those are definitely my top three at this point. So this covers chapters 482 to 491. So this is the start of the final fight between the Straw Hats and Gecko Moria, and goes all the way through the end of Thriller Bark into Sabaody. I think that's how it's pronounced, and it ends with the Flying Fishman showing up. So, backtracking a little bit, Luffy just has a second gear and third gear punch up with Gecko Moria, and he beats the shit out of him, as expected. It's just the final end to the fight. As the sun is coming up and the pressure's on because their bodies are about to disintegrate. Pretty fun fight. Again, much like with Oars, because Gecko Moria became so fucking giant in this volume, we have a lot of just really big panels to really sell these giant impacts and stuff. So that was fun. So that fight ends, and then just almost out of nowhere, Kuma shows up again, and we learn. I don't remember if we learned this. I'm sure it was already told to us when Kuma was first introduced, but he is another one of the 7 warlords. Oh wait, no, that was introduced in the last volume too. So see, I'm getting everything jumbled up now, but. So now they find out that he's one of the 7 warlords. And they're all fucking tired as shit, so they can't even come close to putting up a decent fight with him. So then we get this moment that I think is really interesting thematically, but narratively makes no fucking sense whatsoever. So it's this moment where Zoro, so the setup is Kuma is about to take Luffy in. He was supposed to take all of the Straw Hats, but he wanted to at least take Luffy's head in. And Zoro is like, I'm not going to let you do that. And so, turns out Kuma is like a super advanced cyborg invented by Dr. Vegapunk, who I believe his name has shown up before. I think he was the one who made Spandam's elephant sword thing. I'm not quite sure. But I know I've seen his name before show up in this. So, big military scientist guy. So, Kuma is a robot. Like a super advanced one. And what he does is he takes all of Luffy's suffering, basically all of the pain that he endured during the fight with Gecko Moria and Oars and all of that stuff. And he condenses it into this just ball of energy, and he says, if you will take on this Luffy's suffering, I will let you, and live, I will let you go. And he does that. I'm trying to find the panel because it's super, there we go. And just experiences this immense amount of pain, but he comes out the other end looking like a badass, as Zoro does. So, very interesting thematically. I love the idea, because that's what Zoro's character has been for so long. He was the first one to join Luffy's crew, so he supports Luffy through thick and thin. There is no Zoro is unquestionably loyal to Luffy. There's nothing that will waver that. And so taking on the entirety of Luffy's suffering is almost like what he probably views his job to be, as the first, essentially the first mate. So, interesting thematic bit there. And of course, Zoro's like everyone asks when he looks like shit after this, everyone asks what happened. He's like, nothing happened. As if like this is not something extraordinary, it's something that's expected of him. I believe one of the AniTubers I follow on YouTube, put out a video on this moment recently. It might have been Kato. I'm not sure. It might have been Kato. I'm not sure. Whatever. Because I know they used the picture, that panel, or well, the anime version of that panel as a thumbnail. And Sanji, after hearing about it, decides like, hey, let's keep it on the down low. He hears it from other people aside from Zoro, and he's like, Luffy doesn't need to know this. None of the crew needs to know this. This is Zoro wanting to keep this shit to himself. Let's leave him be. So, which is totally within Zoro's character. And Sanji, I love that, and as much as they butt heads as the two of the other big fighters on the crew, and they just kind of fucking hate each other's personalities, they really respect each other as warriors and as men. And they're just like, yeah, it just is nothing. So I really like the thematic idea of that. Narratively makes no fucking sense at all. Like, the only justification is Kuma is a robot from the future. Well, not even from the... He's a futuristic robot. I keep confusing that in my head for some reason. Like, he's just... Like, they make it... The phrasing was that Dr. Vegapunk's science is, like, 500 years more advanced than everything we have here. So, I got it fucking mixed around in my brain for some reason. But it would make more sense, honestly, if he was a robot from the future. But... And, like, none of his other powers are related to that. Like, his power is basically, like, he can emit, like, basically pressure blasts from the bear paws on his fists. Which, also, I still don't know how that works with his, like, teleportation abilities that we saw with Pedora in the previous volume, I think. So, very interested in seeing the full explanation of Bartholomew Kuma. But yeah, that fight scene was also pretty interesting. Just the big boom of all these. Trying to find some of the explosion effects. Like, yeah, just some really strong paneling here. Just the sheer force of Kuma's abilities. Like, he's immediately a step up from Gecko Moria without even trying. So he'll be fun to face. I believe he shows up either in I believe he shows up in Sabaody. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure he does. So we'll get to see him pretty soon. So that whole thing resolves, and we finally get the full extent of Brook's flashback, and it's a little bit of a tearjerker. Just the emotional torment he went through watching all of his crew die from the plague, essentially, and then dying himself and being revived by the revive devil fruit. But you really get a sense for, like, this is a crew that he really cared for, and along with Laboon and all that stuff, and this is a man who's lost a lot of stuff and has finally found it again through Luffy. And so we have our new member of the Straw Hat crew. So, very fun resolution. And I took a cue from best guy ever with this scene, because like we finally get the Binks Brew song. We get the whole lyrics to that. But I am of the mindset that manga does not do music well. Like, one of my favorite anime is Your Lie in April, and so I immediately after that finished airing, I bought the first volume of the manga, and it just really didn't do much for me. So I just like having, when it's music and lyrics, I need that audio experience. So immediately after reading the lyrics to this, I went and listened to the anime's version of the song, and it was good. I think in my head I had a similar cadence with that swung eighth note feel to it, but a completely different melody in my head, obviously. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So, Brooke is part of the crew now. And that leads us right into... Oh yeah, we get a little bit about the Vivre paper. I think that's how it's pronounced, Vivre. I don't know if that's Spanish or French. I'm leaning French. But, yeah, so it's basically life paper. And we get the little thing that... I lost my train of thought. We get the bit about how Ace is in danger. And I forgot I think it showed up earlier in this volume too. It showed up somewhere in this volume that Ace has been captured and imprisoned in Impel Down, which is the big prison. So we are slowly building up the pieces for Summit War, which is like the big war arc of One Piece so far. So that's getting exciting. And of course but for now, this leads us into the next arc, which is Sabaody. Again, I think I'm pronouncing that right. So they were going to Fishman Island, but cute little mermaid girl shows up, and cute little Cammy, whatever, Cammy, I'm gonna call her Cammy. Cute little mermaid Cammy shows up and completely derails everything. And then so they divert to Sabaody, and they're gonna run into some fishmen, probably human traffickers, apparently. That would be an interesting turn if they decide to go a little in depth into human trafficking. Again, it's One Piece, so it's not going to get too dark, but that will be interesting. But that's the end of this volume. Solid end to Thriller Bark. Probably my least favorite arc of one. Well, no, because Davy Back exists. Because in terms of I mean, I'm really tempted to just put this as part of, like, the One Piece Wiki, and a lot of other people say that that Thriller Bark is its own saga. And, like, with the anime, I can understand that, because there's 2 filler arcs with the anime. I've looked through the wiki for some of this stuff. But just in terms of, like, where it's going, like, this has elements that are going to be extremely important for upcoming arcs. The build-up for those arcs is already here in full force. So, really, this should just be part of the whole of the Summit War, or Paramount War, whatever it's officially called. Whatever that saga is called. So, I would personally classify it as that. But, yeah, I wouldn't say this is my least favorite arc, because Long Ring Long Land exists. The fucking Davy Back fight was just not good. But I would put it fairly low in terms of overall arcs, because there was just a lot of battle fatigue and just a lot of stuff that wasn't quite as good. Still good. I'd give it like somewhere in the 7 range, but it could have been better. But that's it for now. We're moving on to Sabaody. But that'll be for tomorrow. In any case, be sure to like and subscribe if you like this if you like this video and want to see more, and leave a comment down below about what you thought. Maybe you have a unpopular... I don't know what the popular or unpopular opinion on Thriller Bark is. I hadn't heard anything about it prior to reading this, except for that this is where Brooke shows up. So it seems like it's one of the more forgettable arcs of One Piece. But yeah, leave a comment down below about what you thought. My name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.